Hey everyone, welcome back to the Bloody Channel. It's me, Bloodlust Knight, here to talk about more of World of Tanks, in particular of one tech tree tank that a lot of people seem to struggle on. It is, of course, this one, the VK4502 Alpha. It is a Tier 8 tech tree German heavy tank in line for the Panzer VII. Now, ideally, it is a tank that you have to get a... It's a tech tree tank, of course you have to get it out the way just to get the Panzer VII. It splits off from the Tiger P, or Porsche. And again, it just leads up to the Panzer VII. Now, what's interesting about it, why this tank is a lot of people have a struggle with, is, well, in general, for most of these tanks up here, this tank has a problem just for survivability. There's all sorts of issues and basically just strategy of how you play this tank. It's not a true general heavy tank in the sense where you could just take like the VK100-01 and just face hug everyone and not be affected by a single round. Nah, the Alpha has to be played completely different. Generally, it's, for realistic of how I play it, it's not that bad, but again, you have to play it completely different. Don't play it like a heavy tank in general. Play it, as I say, a versatile. You want to play it more like a support heavy tank with opportunities that medium tanks normally don't have. So what I'm trying to say is, you got to play it like the TL1 LPC, right there. You got to play it like a medium tank. Now, ideally, it's not that bad of a tank. It's nowhere near at the bottom with some other Tier 8 heavy tanks that are struggling right now. Even worse than this. But it's not... So what it is, it's got decent firepower. You get the 10.5 as a maximum gun, with 200 base pen for the AP rounds and 244 with the gold rounds. Now, the gold rounds with 244, that's actually a little bit decent for a Tier 8, even though there are a few others out there that are just far superb, such as the Skoda T56. 200 millimeters of pen, that, however, is probably one aspect of where people are struggling with this, as 200 millimeters is really not that much. There are other tanks that have better maneuverability with less pen, such as the T44-100, or other heavy tanks such as the IS-6 that's only 4mm difference at 196 penetration. So it is pretty somewhat low for a heavy tank to have this, especially at 10.5. Other than that, it's got 320 average damage. That's actually pretty decent and pretty average for most tanks. Compared to the Tiger II, which is 360, or the VK100, which is 440 with bigger, stronger calibers. This one with an all-general 10.5 with a quick reload of 8.2 seconds. That really helps a lot, increasing its DPM up to 2300. Of course, I do have a gun rammer and Brothers in Arms fully crewed in here. Now, the main aspect why people don't like this thing so much is its survivability. Rating of only 294, whereas the Tiger II's is 350 and the VK100's is ungodly 530. Now, generally, what hurts with this one so much is that it's armor. Its armor is very appalling. It's not appalling. It's just terrible. Completely terrible all around. Only 80 on the sides and the rear, so it's not really that great for side scraping, especially for how long the tank is and where the turret's placed. But 150 in the front and only 180 on the turrets, on the front of the turret, with it being flat as well, that really hurts it. Ideally, another thing too, with the angle of the top plate, people tend, if they're tall enough, will just tend to pin here. So ideally right now with the Japanese heavy tanks on top of the tree this month, that is a good indication where you'll most likely get hit by them all the time. Oh, can easily see this and just pin it. He doesn't have to aim for the cupola, he just hits right here. Any sort of angle such as here, like just that far, you'll get pinned on the side. You'll get pinned, again, on the side of your hole. Its survivability is just garbage. There's no easy way to put it. It's completely terrible. 1570 HP compared to the 1600 for the Tiger II, and of course the 1700 for the VK100. Ideally, you want to... it just doesn't survive very well. So people tend to just free experience this out the way, especially when you start this tank and start with these very very weak stock tank. It is, woo boy. And as you see with this one, as I go to this and highlight it, you cannot get any upgrades on this tank without getting the second suspension. Because that's a difference of 5 tons of a load limit. So that also hurts it a lot. So you first get this thing and you have to get up to 14,650 experience just to unlock this. Even to fit equipment in. I don't believe you can fit equipment in this as a stock tank. So this is another thing that hurts it a lot. Generally, a lot of people just free experience out the way because the VK4502 Bravo, which is the next tank in line, just has much better survivability and a better gun. So it goes right ahead. You can get the 12.8 at the very end with 246 pen, 311 pen, 490 damage. Has much better armor profile. 120 on the sides, 200 in the front, 265 in the front of the turret, 160 on the side. And with the gun now being mounted in the rear, so it's a rear-mounted turret, it side scrapes. It's a monster for side scraping. With only one flaw, the cupola is too easy to hit. Other than that, it's just far superior than what its predecessor, the Alpha, is compared to. Mobility-wise, though, this is where it actually becomes where you have to play it differently. Unlike most other heavy tanks that are big, slow, cumbersome with a lot of armor to go into the front and get into areas where the heavy tanks normally engage. You don't want to do that with the VK4502 Alpha. You do not want to do that with this tank. You don't have the armor. But because of your speed and engine power, which I have mine increased due to a turbo, it definitely helps it a lot to make it more maneuverable. That's a really key factor that the Alpha needs to make it more of a versatile heavy tank than just being one in the front. Because of the maneuverability, you can easily move around, get into positions fast before anyone else to set up ambush positions, or in general, just to flank enemies with relative ease. 30.9 traverse speed isn't too bad, provided if you get the driver skill, it goes up to 31 to 32. It's not bad for a turn radius. But 903 engine power, with 42 just having a turbo on it, it really helps this tank a lot just to move faster and get position better. Because if you get caught out in the open, you have no armor, you're going to get destroyed. This thing is huge. With no armor. So that's the idea thing of how it is. Spotting-wise, it ain't too bad. It actually spots pretty far for a heavy tank. 434, and I still don't have the other two maxed out yet, but almost max view range. But if I put in the coated optics in here, you can definitely see far. That's not bad for a heavy tank. That's really good for a heavy tank, actually. So, ideally, how I play this... So I'm going to point out how I actually play this tank and why I actually did so well, and how I got my 3rd mark of excellence in a tank that is just a struggle. So I have mine loaded. Of course, you have to have vents, and then I have a turbo in there. The one aspect that I have that you will not need is the gun rammer. Gun rammer is not heavily needed for it, though it does help increase it to go over 2300 DPM. You could go without it, go down to at least a 9-second, greater than 9-second reload. So about a 9.1, 9.2 second reload. That's still not bad. That's faster than the Tiger II and VK100 with the gun rammer. And one aspect to actually help a whole lot, which I didn't do because I'm a masochist, you want to put in a durability mod. A durability mod would be the best thing in here just to increase your HP as it's very low, to help give you much higher survivability, to stay in the fight longer, to do more damage, especially with the 10.5 that shoots relatively fast. That would be the ideal thing to do. Other than that, if you want to continue with this loadout that I have to help get DPM, again, I only did this loadout staying as it is just to try and get the 3rd mark of excellence as fast as possible. That's fine. But ideally, I would recommend that you replace this and put in a improved hardening on there. Increase your HP. Just like the Japanese heavy tanks where they get easily pinned by gold rounds, this will get pinned by gold rounds. So you want to increase your HP to stay in the fight longer. Another option to do as well, if you don't want a turbo, coated optics would help a lot. It's already fast to reaching 38, and it will reach 38. It's got enough engine power and power weight ratio to easily get there. No problem. So it'll reach max speed. So if you don't need a turbo, coated optics. Definitely be a great one just to have the max view range to see farther so that people can't really hide on you that easily. Another aspect to do as well, if you leave turbo on there, you could make this somewhat of a rammer. It is a German tank. It is pretty heavy at almost 60 tons. But that ideally would not be a good idea, simply because you have no armor. You'll just die. Now, how I got the third mark of excellence on here, this is another thing I'm going to point out. So I already pointed out, I play this more like a medium tank. That is the key of how I did very well with the Alpha. I play it like a medium tank. So much like the FCM 50T, right here, the French heavy tank FCM 50T, much like this one, you gotta play it like the medium tank. This one is the same boat as the Alpha. The only difference is that this has a preferential match-making element to it, meaning you can never face a tier 10 with this tank. However, a gun is a little bit weaker. Only 240 damage, 212. It is a 90 mil. So the gun's a little bit weaker. It has way less armor. 120, 120, but same side. The difference with this is that it's extremely fast. So you're just ideally an oversized medium, and that's the key of how I play the Alpha, is I view it not as a heavy tank, but an oversized medium, and that gave me an advantage to easily do very well, or at least decent in most matches. Now, another idea of how I got the... It also helped you to get the third mark of excellence. Simply because a lot of people... This is a tech tree tank. Tech tree tanks are usually some of the easiest ones to get marks of excellence on. Because ideally for everyone who plays the game, well, you have to pass the tech trees just to get to the final... Just to get the final tier 10. So right now, Tiger 1, even though the third mark is hard because it's a large damage pool, a lot of people do well with the Tiger 1, you can still get the second mark of excellence no problem by dealing averaging of 2,500 or 3,000 damage. Third mark, you have to go up above about 4,000 or more on average just to get the third mark. It'd be almost the same for the Tiger 2, the VK100, because they're very well-built tanks in the game. The Alpha, on the other hand, yes, you still have to play it to get the Panzer 7. So a lot of people struggled with the tank. Because of that, it made it relatively very easy to get the third mark of excellence for a tier 8 heavy tank as well. Everybody's played it, everybody struggled with it, the damage pool is relatively low. You can average just over 2,000 damage in every match and get your third mark. Though it'll take longer, you can still get your third mark. It's always an improvement, an increase to your percentage-wise to get the third mark. That's how many people struggled with this tank. So with that, I'm going to go over to show you the last match I did before I got the third mark of excellence to show you exactly how I play this tank. And here we are in the match on Siegfried Line with the VK4502 Alpha against tier 9s. This was the last match. As you can see, as I still only have 2 marks of excellence on the tank. This was the match before that got me the third and final one. So already, Siegfried Line, standard battle, which is a nice thing. Now, ideally, what many people want to do is they'll tend to go into the city in a corner right over in this general location, right here on this map that I'm pointing at. That's the general ideal location that many heavy tanks will go to. That's the most engagement where they're at. You do not want to go there with this tank. Again, you have only 180 in the turret and 150 in the hull, and you're tall. They'll shoot your hull. So the spot I meant is right over here on the right. You do not go there. Even if you're high tier, you don't go to that spot. So what I decided to do, because I am a fast tank with a turbo in here, I decided to go into this position and decide to wait to see if anyone appears and crosses over. I set up an ambush point. So that's the first thing I did. Just because. You can't fight on that side. And with it being tier 9s, who's to say the AE Phase 1 or the AMX decides to go on that side? Good luck fighting the AMX. So I look, I see the Mutant 6. That's another one that this tank will not do well against. Only 200 millimeters of pen with a tank with that much armor and a defender in the way. Then there's the 703. So yeah, I would have been toast. So I continuously sat here and just waited. Sometimes you have to be very patient with tanks like these. Just going out and rushing just to try and get as much damage as possible. Again, you're not going to succeed with this. You have no armor. So that's what you got to do. You want to be patient. You want to play this like a medium tank. And patience pays off, because here's an AMX. Oh, right there, AMX made a huge mistake as myself with the 703 was waiting. And the 703 did manage to get both rounds. As you heard, he did a double shot. He got both rounds into it. So already the AMX was regretting his choices. He got hit one more time by the lore. Unfortunately, the lore got double tapped. But I noticed because of that, this 703 is now out. Now I waited for his underbelly because, again, it's only 200 millimeters of pen, and then I decided to switch to gold rounds. For those of you who know me play stream, I have a beef with gold rounds. But I am doing this. I said one of the reasons to fire gold rounds is third mark of excellence. This is one of them. But I do have a huge beef with gold rounds. So I decide to maneuver out the way. They're all on that side. I come this way. And there's the Waffenträger. Hooray! Ooh, easy shot, easy shot. Nope. RNG says no. That tends to happen a lot. You get the nice volume shot, you wait for it, you fire, and RNG still says, nah, you miss. But I decided to come on this side because, again, very maneuverable. I see the tortoise in the center, and I decide to assist the tortoise and see what he's doing. Unfortunately, I get there too late as they all back off. But then I see the IS-152, but don't get a shot. Tortoise is backing up. And that's a good thing for this tank. Again, I was able to turn left, maneuver around, and get right here with the tortoise. If things go bad, I can actually retreat, as this tank is fast enough for me to generally retreat over to just return. So what you just missed there is that the BZ came around the corner. Unfortunately, I did not pen him. And this was live on stream. I was judging going, does he have a gold round loaded? Because that's generally the case with BZ-176. 90% of players fire gold. That's why it's one of the main reasons why I have a huge beef with gold. 90% of players fire gold in that tank. Oh, excuse me. Oh, there's a problem. There goes the 703 too. I figure backing up because I don't know if the BZ or anyone's going to come over, or if those guys are going to come over now that that's not. Tiger 2, I saw this coming. I knew that was coming a mile away. Broadside with a defender in a bad area that he can actually shoot because there's a crevice that he can shoot through. BZ pops out, and then I realized something. He went in the alley. Unfortunately, even with the gold round, I tracked the BZ, and I don't move, but yes, there it is. Gold round. I fire one more time, unfortunately, doesn't pen again, but now he's perma-track because he did repair it. I tell the tortoise that, tortoise comes out, he repairs in time, I track him one more time, right before the tortoise hits, and now he's gone. Then here's the SU. I shoot the SU, and unfortunately the SU hits me back, now my driver's dead. Missed the ISU, and then noticed, oh no. Scorpion, Centurion, I get pinned, I get set on fire. Here I am thinking, well, this match is over, I'm not going to get the third mark this round. Because they came in flanks, and they set me on fire. I loaded HE to get the Scorpion, unfortunately I do 220 damage, so I didn't hit the right spot. So right then and there in this, I literally was crying out, going, yeah, the game is literally trying to stop me from getting a third mark. I've had that happen a lot, and many other people, it feels that way. The game is against you. Here, I didn't know if I should shoot Centurion because I have no idea where the Waffenträger 4 is at. But I pop out, get a shot. Hey, still alive. That's good. 3,600 damage combined. Of course, no rounds blocked. Finish off the Centurion there. No damage blocked. Again, none. This tank does not block rounds very well. Now I'm up to 3,800 combined. But I felt like I needed more damage. I was already so high in the third mark to it, 94.3%. I felt like I needed one more shot just to get it. At this point, my heart was racing, my heart was pumping, and then I decided to take a moment to breathe, relax, and think, where can I get just one more shot? I didn't care if we win or lose at this point. I have reached my goal if I get one more shot. So I come to this side figuring out, okay, is anyone popping over here? No, they don't. I can't poke my head out. The Su-130 is still alive. The ISU is still alive because I missed him. And the Waffenträger is still back there, along with artillery. If I get spotted and leave out here, the artillery will surely get me. Type 61 is now trying to engage the 703. Unfortunately, if we take a look, the 703 and the Super Pershing, I believe they're the ones that are going to have a bad day. There's still a Skoda out in the field. So now it's just basically a waiting game at this point. A lot of us are hurting. We're all down. It's only an 895 HP difference. Our Artie is dead. I don't know how he died still. I can never paid attention for that. So yeah, it's just a waiting game at this point. All trying to figure out who makes the first move, who makes the mistake. And see, we still got the Tortoise, the Scorpion over there, the Udas at full health. And there's the Skoda. So I go check to see where the Skoda's at. The Skoda, unfortunately, does get in a position, and 703 is now having a bad day. Double tap, but only one hits, and thankfully our Leopard PT, our Leopard prototype, turns to try and go after him, but he's the biggest threat. Then what I notice is Type 61 coming up. He finishes the 703. I get spotted. So, okay, he might comes up here and try and finish me off. He knows where I'm at. Then I do something different. I go right ahead, what I normally do. I stayed there, and I stayed behind the tree. The tree was down. The tree could give me some cover. And somehow I knew he was going to come right up there again. Somehow I had a feeling he was going to do that, like thinking he was going to be, all right, the Valve was going to fall back. He's going to believe I backed off. Now I'm going to come up and shoot him without him knowing. And then, oh dear, here's the 703. Ooh, got lucky there. That would have finished me off. Now, despite getting one shot in the Type 61, that was only 49 damage. I still need to get over 4,000. So I wasn't happy even though I killed him. Waffenträger pops out. Which is a surprise. I'm surprised that Waffenträger didn't stay in the back at this point when I was playing this. So we all knew where he's at. Stress1K. I don't know what Stress1K is thinking. He's wondering if he should or not. Then I decided, I'm like, well, hang on. Since the Stress1K is going over there, okay, I'm going to be right here. I'm close enough to see anyone comes down that alley. I need to see what the 703 is doing. And oh my word, there's the 703. Got the shot. Got the shot. I was now happy. Over 4,000 combined. He misses. I finished the 703. The Waffenträger 4 is now gone, but unfortunately we lost our Tortoise, which is really needed for the snipers back there. At this point, I am cheering, going crazy on my stream, going crazy on Twitch, just going nuts. I have did it. This is definitely, for sure, the third mark of excellence. Then I went, okay, now how can we advance? We got to figure out what to do here. So I focused on more of the match and figuring out how to win. Because if I do win, this is going to be a huge base experience for me. So I just carefully come over here, sees anyone behind that tree. Normally where a lot of people like to sit. Didn't get spotted, no one's there. And this is what I normally do. I poke out just to see if I get spotted. Okay, someone's there. Here comes the Skoda. So now I know the Skoda's there. The ISU just appeared, and unfortunately the ISU took out the Super Pershing to my right. So he's there. I pop out. I try to see if I can see the ISU, because he shot the Super Pershing. But he unfortunately falls back. So I'm right here thinking, okay, they're all back in the bushes. Maybe I don't get spotted. And I'm like, wait a minute. What if that Skoda backs off? He's going to find me, and then there's the ISU and the Su-130. We still don't know all the way back there that, oh, they're going to shoot me. So I decided to do this. Well, he's in the way, but thankfully, because of that engine power, I can shove this 703 out the way. Yeah. ISU appears again. He's running. They're missing, and then I get the opportunity. I finally finished him off. So already here we are at 33, almost 30, or no, not 33, 4,300 combined. Skoda's there. I fire because I know he's there. I don't know if I hit him. I don't think I did because it wasn't any higher than this. I point out saying he's still there. Unfortunately, I made a mistake. He actually moved. I didn't realize. He moved. I go, oh. And then the Skoda flanks me and takes me out. So then I'm now zooming. This is my perspective. I stayed spectating throughout the match because I'm now trying to slow my heart rate down because I believed I have done it. So I tried looking at what the others are doing and pointed out that I see these two. I'm all, hey, behind you. There's a Skoda. Skoda's now turning to try and flank. He got the opportunity to go in. So I'm all, hey, Skoda behind you. They're now looking at the M40 with the UDES now snuck up, which, yes, an UDES is scouting. They're still not paying attention. Leopard's trying to chase him. And I'm sitting here going to these two going, hello. And you're going to see me start pinging here. There I go. I go in chat. Skoda behind you. I start pinging. Skoda's coming up behind you. Turn around. Stresson still not paying attention, and unfortunately, there he goes. And I'm like, I told you. I warned you. I told you. Thankfully, I go, look, the Leopard's right there in time to chase this Skoda down and take him out. Skoda thinks he can go right ahead and chase him, or run away. Excuse me. Skoda believes he can run away. Nope, Leopard's just as fast as he is. Yeah, that's a miss. Didn't need that. Skoda's now reloaded at this point. Missed one shot. Took a second shot. Leopard finishes him off. Unfortunately, what happened over here at the same time is the SU-130 was now spotted and took out the UDES. Scorpion is now moving to figure out where he's at. Ouch. Now that's an HE round if it works, unlike mine. But thankfully Skoda finishes him off, and not only all that, got a victory. Amazing match I did here. Total of, what was that? 343, almost 4350 combined in the VK4502 Alpha. And sadly, I forgot to save the battle results to show you. This was an ace tanker, so it was a new record that I got an ace tank for, and this is the match where I got the final third mark of excellence. So all in all, this tank, I'm just going to show you, it's poofed. Probably be good for, yeah, right there. I'm going to screen that one. That'll be my thumbnail. That's going to be the perfect thumbnail. This tank is a struggle. A lot of people struggle with it. It is not an ideal heavy tank. You want to play it more like a medium, but it can stay close to the front line, like an assault medium or something like that. But just like that, with this, again, I averaged... This took me 3 hours to get the third mark. I did one match, and then ended up getting the second mark of excellence out of nowhere. Just out of nowhere. No idea how. I was like, that's not right. I only did 1,000 damage. Turns out the reason why that counted is because, again, the damage pool to receive those marks is very low. After that, I decided to push for the third mark, and it took me 3 hours because most of the average damage I did in this tank was about 2,200 damage, and yet every single time I did that, I still went up in percent-wise for marks of excellence. The damage pool is very low. You average 2,200 damage, you're going to get closer and closer and closer to that third mark of excellence. Now, if you want to get faster, you're definitely going to need to do something like this to get 4,000 combined. That'll definitely skyrocket you up there. But that is ideally how I got the third mark on this tank relatively easy. So with that, let me know if you're struggling with this tank, as many of us have. I know I did struggle back then, but as I learned to play the FCM50T as a medium tank, it made this tank much better improvement, and much more fun to play. So let me know if you struggle with this tank. Let me know what you think about this. And hopefully you learned some tips and pointers here to improve battle play. And I hope that you also aim for the third mark of excellence in this tank, as it is relatively easy to get. So thank you so much for watching. Hit that follow button or that subscribe button. This is YouTube. Hit the subscribe button to find out more videos on when I put up, because I have been lacking on them. Apologies for anyone who watches them. write down in the comments what you think. If there's any other tanks that you find struggling of, let me know. I will try and do a video and a review on them and see if I can 3-mark them. Please, no meta tanks like the 7032. I don't do well in meta tanks. So let me know in the comments what you think. Hit that subscribe button, and then if you got the time, go find me on Twitch. Twitch.tv/bloodlustnight. Go find me over there to where you can find matches like this, where you'll see it live. So, thank you all so much. Stay safe. And until then, I will see you all next time.